to say is, I really feel like, the meetings have kind of been redundant, like the general meeting, the executive meeting for leading into the general, and people that come in at one, I feel like they're kind of disoriented, and they're like, am I late? And then it's kind of hard to follow the agenda, and so I was thinking, I'd rather not do like reports from everybody at the executive meeting. Let's put that off until the general meeting. Except for unless, you have to go or something like that. But what the executive meeting, and maybe even break at like 10 till 1 or something like that, and just so that there are two distinct separate meetings. You know what I'm saying? I think that would just flow better, and it would keep us from repeating a lot of stuff that we're gonna, really, the executive meeting should just be discussing things that, I don't know, that we,
or something.
yeah, or something that is not suitable for the general, or we decide what we're gonna talk about in the general, or something, like, okay, yeah, we need to focus on such and such. I don't know, yeah, but, does that make sense? Okay, so, what do y'all feel like should, or do we have, I know we wanna address the whole walk and roll thing, and then.
Everything in the general meeting, and, do you wanna say something, cause you probably have to get back to class.
You know what, I'm okay today, and I will stay because I have one child because of was done with oceans.
Okay.
So, I know they're good, and at 10 to 1, I will tell them I'm gonna stay, so that at least we can have some if that's okay with you.
Oh, yeah, no, you.
But I did come for a purpose.
You are welcome anytime, I know. Well, is this something that you wanna address to us?
I can, I found out today, I've talked to Palliative Care, and they're gonna come February 4th, to talk to, the parents at Washington Center. So, I'm really excited, it's gonna be at 8:30.
Awesome.
And, yes, February 4th at 8:30 a.m. Yes, it'll be a breakfast one, so I will get breakfast.
Is it gonna be Dr. Stroud or?
Dr. Stroud should be, or someone from his team is coming. They said on Wednesday it has an overlap of 2 doctors.
Yeah,
So.
Brooke is the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that one of them will be coming, and she thought 8:30 would be a good time. So I'm very excited about that.
Do you want the PTA to take care of the breakfast, or at least reimburse you, or
Yes,
what do you want?
please.
Yeah. Okay.
You want us to take care of it?
If you
Yeah.
wanna help me, I'd be great, because I have not done the breakfast
Just like
whatever.
Unless you wanna be in the video.
Just kind of a figure.
Yeah. And I don't mind doing most of it if y'all tell me where y'all would like to have it from, or where y'all have had great success in having it from, I didn't know. And then,
Chick-fil-A biscuits always delivers.
well, I love
That
that.
always helps me.
That's true.
And they'll give us what, $1.25?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it $1.25 or $2.25?
Oh,
No, I think it's $1.75.
We
Yeah.
can live.
As long as we don't tell them we're reselling them.
Yeah.
We won't be reselling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So, but I'm very excited about that. And then I've talked to, a lawyer, I don't have a date yet, but a lawyer and a, person to come and talk at the end of March or the 1st of April to come and talk, about, setting up trusts and things for him, and the things that you will need to work on. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
It's coming. And that, the lawyer and things went to, I think, buy our lunch for that. So,
Really? Oh, that's
and
nice.
provide lunch for the families that come, so.
Wow.
Okay, what's the name of the lawyer?
I will find out, I've got an email about that, and it's, someone that Family Connection has hooked me up with,
Okay,
so they're very excited.
good.
Good, because it's been many years since we've had something.
So,
Sharon has worked so hard.
I know.
It's great.
Well, family night, you did a phenomenal
Yeah,
job.
that was so great.
yeah,
What we need to do is turn that into walk and roll spots. So
Yes.
you come to our school and you benefit from us now.
Or
let's
even just
a
have them
little-
show up at the walk again.
Yeah.
And
See if they're.
Yeah,
just to have
more bodies here is
if they
always.
want to, yeah,
I've already talked to.
Or they could set up
Have
a
a table.
station, yeah.
the station.
The medical,
Hand out pamphlets.
the medical alliance has been, did the things I talked to them, a friend of mine is gonna be on board next year, and I talked to her last night, and I said, please don't forget about us, and I'm gonna hit them up on that, so, cause they haven't told people yet, so I thought that would be really good, cause they've been pretty passionate. They wanted to give us stuff for Christmas and things after they visited here, so they're very touched.
Any word on those pictures?
No, and I've emailed her a lot, and she
Okay.
just keeps on saying, he's
Yeah.
coming, he goes
Yeah.
through everyone personally.
Yeah.
And there was over 1,000 pictures.
I know, yeah. Well,
But
that's
I can't wait either, I
Yeah.
cannot wait. So, that's all my news, that's good news, so.
Oh, yeah.
real good.
Good, that's good. Okay, so, well, for the breakfast, okay, who wants to be in charge of,
I'll be in charge if somebody will help me.
Okay,
I'll do it.
okay.
I'll help you.
Okay,
and
alright,
just tell us,
okay,
yeah, you and I,
okay, we'll talk.
you have to
Sounds
do
good.
it, maybe get a fruit bowl.
Yeah, I think so.
Costco.
Coffee, we can get some,
Yeah.
I can get a couple of boxes of
Yeah.
coffees and
Yeah,
creamer
I
and
think that's right,
And flyers
We'll
to
Yeah,
the
I
parents.
can handle that,
You can handle that,
Oh, okay.
I can do it.
you're gonna handle
And then
the,
it can go on the Friday afternoon.
Yeah, and I'll
Blast.
put that on this week,
Yeah,
the February fourth,
yes,
at 8:30 and the breakfast will be provided.
that's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
Do they need to RSVP? Do they need to let
Yeah,
us know?
yeah. I'll
So
get
we'll
it.
This must be like, is this, what is palliative care? Is that like long-term or
I'll
just?
let Carl explain that if that's.
Well, we've actually, Blaine and I did a little, talk for them several weeks ago. They were doing a little fundraiser out in the Greenville community, and so that's kind of how we learned a lot about it. They're, one of my neighbors up the street who's a disabled child, 31-year-old, passed away a few years ago, is also working with them. But Carrie Stroud is a retired pediatric hematologist oncologist, and he saw the need to start a service. At this point, it's only inpatient, and it's for chronically ill children. So it's not end of life, which is what you might think it is, but it's for chronically ill children, which could be cancer kids,
Okay.
you know, it could be Crohn's, obviously our children. And so what he's saying, he sees that there's now with regular doctors, pediatricians are not admitting anymore. They don't come to the hospital
Mhm.
anymore. You've got these hospitalists, so
Hospitalists.
they'll call the hospital and say, we're admitting Catherine, and here's what I can tell you about her. And then once they get in the hospitalist who
Okay.
does not know your child,
Child.
who's chronically ill and
Been
has
there.
a medical file this big, has to start from scratch. And so
What a
he
great
sees that there's
idea.
a need where they can be that person
Yes. Liaisons.
that knows your child
Good,
when they get admitted, and you can actually kind of deal with them and say,
good.
I think we need this, 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 and this, and they can say, yeah, I think you're right. Let me talk to the hospitalist for you, or let me talk to the specialist for you. So I think it's a
Mhm.
amazing service, and they hope to get enough funding at some point to also be able to offer it on an outpatient basis.
So what, I mean, like the people, once they, I mean, if they, like, if your child has to be in the hospital, do they, they'll
They'll
connect you
come
to?
see you.
Okay.
When we were there last, Dr. Stroud came in and said, is there anything you need?
Oh, good.
And at the time, we were fine, but if we had needed something, I didn't feel like something was getting done, I would have said, look, this is what we need. Now, I could have used him over Christmas, because we had a terrible issue with doctors not wanting to make a decision, and all the while Catherine suffered for 16 hours.
I know.
And no, you make you order it, no, you order it, and nobody wanted to order it, and it was really frustrating. I wish I could have called them up and said, can you get this ordered?
And why couldn't
Well, because they only work there, right now they're only,
Outpatient.
inpatient,
I mean,
when you're admitted to the hospital. If they were outpatient, I would have called them. Yeah. And you know what, that could be something I need to clarify with him, but you know, she was at home, it was outpatient, and so I couldn't call him.
So basically, the palliative care specialist, serve as a liaison for families,
Yep.
or
Two
individuals.
physicians,
that is
a
a great need.
two physicians, a chaplain, and 2 or 3 nurses that work for them. I would love to work for them one day. I think that's such a
Yeah,
great
that is
service.
such a great service. I mean, having that
Mhm.
happen, you know, yeah,
Well,
That
especially
is
when
great.
you're in the hospital.
Yes.
Just agitated. If you're in the hospital.
and they're not
you're
listening to you and like,
Well,
somebody
you feel
please
bad. I mean,
listen
I
to
kind of
me.
feel bad for the hospitalists. I mean, they're
Yeah.
coming in on a medical, you know,
Right.
you know, how
Yeah.
big is Katie's
Very
book?
complicated medical care,
How
yeah.
big is all of our kids? I mean, you know.
Well, and I just remember every time Kay used to go to the hospital, it's like every person that came in, I had to explain the whole
Whole
thing.
thing.
And it was just like, this is exhausting.
It's
Just,
like,
you
dude,
know,
I'm not ready to charge, you know?
No.
Well, then you
I
think
know.
about the parents who don't keep up as well and aren't as informed,
Mhm.
but if there was someone who could come in and speak on their behalf.
And that's what they are, and they hit, I don't know that it's the best name, because it does kind of make you think end of life, but
Well,
that's
I mean,
what it's called.
I'd never heard of that term.
It's called that, they kind of patterned it after, I think, Duke University Hospitals, Medical Centers, Palliative Care, and that's what it's called.
Good.
So,
Well, I am so excited something like that's happening. That's great.
It is. And it can really benefit all the families who.
I'm so glad they're coming, I hope we get a big turnout.
Yeah, I hope
Yes.
so.
And here's
because
And
most of these kids do have such multiple needs.
They're just so, yeah,
Medically fragile.
medical, yeah.
And you know, a lot of times the doctors don't really look at you, they look at their child as a medical case. And all of the children have outblown that to the hilt. So then they're like, well, Mom, what do you know? And you know, you're trying to tell them and tell them and tell them, and they're like, you just don't know. Your child is this and this. And I'm like, no, I know my child. You know, I know him. I forget medical. Forget that.
This is palliative care. It says it's for people with serious illnesses. Focuses on providing patients with relief from symptoms, pain, and stress of a serious illness. Whatever the diagnosis, the goal is to improve quality of life. I'm just trying to figure out what to put in the writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be great, yeah.
And so that there's that liaison function to more efficiently get services to people.
Yeah,
like that.
and better understanding
Yeah, better understanding.
and faster process and, you know, perhaps.
So would a child already have to have been a patient of them, or they that's just automatically?
No,
just come in?
when we were in the hospital back in the fall, they said, a nurse came in and said, one of the nurses said, do you want somebody from the palliative care team to come see Catherine? And I didn't know what it was, and I said, no, because I immediately
You
was,
thought that was
I-
possible.
Yes,
I'm
and they were
sorry,
thinking-
I thought you would know. And they said, no, let me explain.
Yeah.
And then she said Kerry Stroud, and I knew him from way back, because Catherine had seen him before, and then when she explained it, I said, absolutely, and they came that admission, and then got us really established with them. So then the next time we were in the hospital, he came and saw me and said, is there anything you all need? And
So if our parents knew
Yep.
to ask for
If
someone
they-
from the palliative
they
care
come.
team,
yep, that's their
That's
job,
great.
they're there all the time.
and they have a clearer understanding of our children.
And the female physician, Brooke, I can't think of, Dr. Brooke, she's wonderful. She came from somewhere out, maybe Texas, where she was already doing this. And she's incredible. So,
Wow.
I said, oh, yeah.
Take advantage of all those.
Great.
Just in
I-
1 minute, y'all can go for a
I
break.
have something to mention to y'all. Some of you from Brookwood Church already know about this. The Night to Shine Tim Tebow event for our students who are 16 and above. On the evening of, I'll pass this around so you can see it. I don't know a great deal about it, but there's some linkages. The district, as we are not allowed just to invite everybody, but we're going to, we can't send it home under the auspices of the school. But we can tell teachers, if I'm saying this correctly, we can tell teachers that they are,
Debated this a lot.
and if they have a student who's 16 and above and would have a parent they think would be interested,
Oh,
then please
that
come
is
pick up an invitation. Which
A
is
little prom night.
That's
Around everything's covered.
Yes, yeah, and the card that Valerie has is the one for, they need volunteers, they need, they want student volunteers and they want adult volunteers,
Well,
so.
we need like 200 volunteers.
Yeah.
200 at least.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm doing hair and makeup.
Oh,
gosh.
Well, the debate, and what we've been talking about, the rule, it's really not a rule, it's law, is that if we send flowers for one thing, then we have to be willing to send flowers for anybody that sends anything. So what we kind of established here, shortly after I got here, I don't know what they've done before, but we talked about it, And we said, okay, if anybody wants to put flowers in the office, we're gonna do it. And it's just, we won't send them home. The reason behind that is just that if we send them home and it comes home in kid's book bag, then that's why it says to the parent, school thinks this is an okay thing. And this, we do think it's an okay
Yeah,
thing, but
but
most
not
of the time, we're
every
not gonna know. It may be a wonderful thing, and yet we don't want our kids to miss out on anything. So, this was kind of a compromise, that we went in the office and tell teachers if they want to do that. I talked to Doug Webb, who's our attorney today, and he said, well, you could do it under the auspices of the PTA, and they can put it in the newsletter. The problem with that is just that we just sent out a newsletter, and there's not a newsletter going.
Going out.
What about the Facebook page? Although that does say Washington, it used to say Washington Center PTA,
Yeah.
but then that group changed it to Washington Center School.
I don't know, I didn't know we all
I
had.
haven't been on it, I don't.
I am
Yeah,
not
they
on it,
did.
but I'll take that to you.
Last year, yeah.
It just says
It
Washington. Washington Center.
Yeah,
Group
but
that
Old
did our-
Penland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Penland. Cause we had it PTA for a reason,
Yeah, that's right.
and then they changed it to school.
And I didn't know we
think I
all
did
had.
Well, I
that
think-
last year.
Yeah, I think they, wanted to include the school so we could put, you know,
Yeah,
school
and that was
things.
fine, I mean, it wasn't, except for.
Yeah, I'm not even on
Like
it.
This was something like this.
Yeah, well, we.
Yeah, because PTA can, y'all can pretty much do what you choose, but we just gotta be sure that we
Yeah.
whatever we do, we gotta do it very well.
Right.
So, you know,
Yes.
that somebody always brings up that thing about if you have a Satan club that shows up and then.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And you will. I mean,
Yeah, that's
just a club that you might not, like you said, might not want to sponsor or might not think's okay.
That's gonna be a great event, I mean, they're gonna have red carpet, they're gonna
That
have
is
limos.
sweet.
They're gonna
Aw.
have, hair and makeup.
We don't want.
Katie gonna
Yeah.
go?
I'll
I
put it-
don't know.
They're gonna have paparazzi there.
Well, isn't that the day of,
It is.
the
Double
thing
prom.
here?
It's the same day, yes it is.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, this is at 9.
Yeah, this is at night.
You can just have it all day long after
Yeah.
school.
Party.
She can just be dressed
Oh,
up.
there you
She
go.
can just party all night.
On the prom, don't you party all night long?
It's all night.
Yeah.
And it's free, obviously, and there's dinner too, right? Isn't there dinner included?
It says that it includes dinner. doesn't
Yeah.
it?
There's dinner.
Yeah, because they were talking about making sure we had food.
And of course,
for
obviously, the
allergies and
parents-
that kind of stuff.
Are welcome to join.
Well, I think I'd have to go.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I mean,
And sometimes we break over, like, I don't know if y'all remember at Christmas a year ago, somebody did something with Santa at the mall, and I went ahead and just put that out. But again, if anybody else had called, from that point on, anybody that called and said, we're gonna do stuff for kids with disability, we've been obligated to do it. And again, I don't even mind that as much as the fear that somebody will think we vetted or. Yeah. So,
Phone calls y'all might get.
well,
Okay, well, one more thing, we lost a student,
yes, we did.
this, okay,
Katie Watson Monday.
okay.
And I'm gonna put that-
I read the obituary, but I didn't know, I didn't know.
She's Sunday.
Uh,
And I'm gonna, I've already got that on the list to mention Friday afternoon.
Well, we'll send a plan.
And
Susie's not
she had
here.
a sister, Candace Watson, who passed away about 2 years ago.
yeah, I read that too. Was she
Was
special
she
needs
here
too?
too?
She was, both children were diagnosed at about the age of 5 or 6 with metachromatic leukodystrophy. And it was just very rapid, the way that it took them over. And they were both.
So Candace went here too?
Luca,
She
just,
was
so it's
homebound.
affect the
Homebound.
muscles and
That's how they first noticed it, was the motor things, yeah.
But we're typically developing children at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both were.
Kinda like Lauren, probably
yeah, well, she went backwards from, what, age 2.5, 3?
about 3, yeah.
And one other thing to share with y'all is that we're gonna have a new IP system, Penny mentioned it, and so y'all will see a difference when we come to annual reviews, and there's some training going on this week, pilot testing, trying to crash the system and see what we can do to make it better. And then in about a 2-week period of time, teachers will start to be trained again. Every special ed teacher in the district for half a day. And
No, when you get through, Linda might wanna tell them about it, then you're looking up at the police.
Okay.
beginning of February, we'll go live with this new system, which is called Easy IEP. It always scares you when they say
Say easy, I think woo.
It's like, when there used to be in Greenville, there was a sanitary bakery, and I was like, All bakery cemetery, what do they call it?
Yeah, really.
Bakery.
I know.
So I went yesterday, and one of the good things about the program is that it does make teachers walk through a process and tries to pull everything together. But like any new program, it's gonna have its, clinks, and there's some decisions being made about whether we will continue to have once a year annual reviews, whether we'll spread them out to like eligibility dates, or how we'll do that. So none of that has been decided, but just so you all know, the IVs will look different this spring. The teachers will look different too, like. But I'm not on camera for that one.
No, you're not.
Okay, can we break for 5 minutes and then we'll start our regular general meeting and we can all